It has been 453 days since now 16-year-old Sebastian Rogers vanished from his home in Hendersonville. His disappearance sparked national headlines, but now his father says the case is losing momentum. With National Missing Children's Day coming up on Sunday, he is raising his voice and demanding urgency. News 2's Caitlin.
I went and talked to neighbors, and every single one of them, every single one, welcomed me. And if they had video surveillance, they gave it to me. The only person that would not talk to me, as the only person that had something to hide and wouldn't talk to me. You know, she has a son that's hiding and waiting for somebody in the dark, late night on the 25th, and there needs to be some explaining for that. I'll just leave it at that.
That we are going to keep searching, we are going to keep looking, we are going to find him, and we are going to bring him home.
Since we first aired the video last month, authorities have said no evidentiary value.
It is of no evidentiary value. It is of no evidentiary value.
Can you tell me what those lights are?
No.
Why?
Because the investigation remains ongoing.
Yeah, I'm working on behalf of Sebastian. I am not, my client is Sebastian, and they're the guardians that have the ability to sign.
It just started. Hi, Dad. I know this is gonna sound weird, but tomorrow's picture day. So could you send some decent clothes over to me so that I can wear the decent clothes and be handsome for my birthday with decent clothes? Mom.
Because our heart is missing. He is my world. I need him. I need him back with me.
Okay, we are live. Welcome, everybody. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Let me make sure my settings are good. Mic check. Okay, that looks good. And we have a new mod, Sassy. Welcome. Thank you so much for helping out, mod, and I appreciate you. God bless you and the support. All right, we got a lot to go over. Some new discoveries in the 3 a.m. video. I'm excited about that. Also, we got Pigfest tomorrow. There's been a lot of crazy stuff going on behind the scenes, and so I want to address some of that as well, because hopefully some of you guys, if you're not local, maybe you know somebody that's going there, and I can provide some updates that maybe you have not heard about the rules, about what you can and can't do, and all that stuff. So we'll go over that. Also, we'll touch on a little bit of the nonsense misinformation that has just been spreading like wildfire from a certain YouTuber. Now, this could just all be stemming from Mr. Stinkfeet here, and Nerdy Attic is just the mouthpiece and maybe not the one to directly blame, but again, they also could be in cahoots. I have no idea, but just the amount of misinformation that's coming out, and then all these other creators just nibbling on it and making videos, the whole canines and cadavers. It's nonsense. It is just getting so out of hand. And I'm sure you guys would agree. I'm sure you've seen a lot of stuff. All started with the burner phone, and then that got twisted around, and then I don't even know where to begin or where to end. You have the polygraph tests, and then this weird infatuation with the neighbor Bobby and her kids, just so weird. And to me, it's just all distraction from that side. And that's what they want, chaos, which is disturbing. But I promise you guys, I've got some interesting stuff to go over. So again, if you're coming in, if you can, please hit that like button, read out some chat. It could be as simple as that page that he's just repeating. And I'm like 50-50 on that page. Where, I could definitely see where Crispy, told him all this stuff. and it's most of it's garbage, and then Nerdy Attic repeats it, and then of course it can't really come back on Chris because Crispy can just say, oh well, he paraphrased it wrong, right? Plausible deniability once again. That's just my take on it, or he's in on it. I don't know. I'm not going to say one way or the other, but there are some signs that I don't like that I'm seeing coming from him that we'll definitely touch on.
We all try to do what we can, and we try to answer all the questions.
Yeah. I mean, it could be as easy,
wants to come
something
up
like
with
that for sure.
Some crazy stuff, but it comes to.
Okay, I played this last time. I mean, I played this a couple times. But I'm just wondering, because I am getting a lot of stuff. So one of the things we're going to be doing, I can't say a lot right now. And it'll still have to be kind of fairly confidential. But we are kind of getting a group together. Not going to say who's involved. But we're just going to basically kind of combined information. And then my goal, at least on my end, is to combine all that information, put it into a package, and then send it to TBI and FBI. But these people, like I said, I wish I could mention who they are very close sources. And some people I haven't directly worked with, but yeah. So, like I said, I have to be careful what they say. But anyway, if one of those people that are watching, because we have some amazing people in here that are keeping track of like who said what, or maybe they're doing stuff with Chris Carr and his possible involvement. So it's amazing how the community is kind of coming together and putting these like Word documents together or something like that, Excel, whatever. And, just putting timelines together. One of the things I would love, I don't know if somebody could help me, is I would love to put something together where throughout the last year and a half, what Crispy has, whenever he's talked about theories and the date and time and what those theories were. And for example, this one here.
What could have happened? What may have happened?
Yeah.
What
is it? Oh, Sheila, you ask them.
Sir?
Yes, ma'am.
What do you all think happened to little Sebastian? Do you have...
I'm down to...
So again, and this is what you would expect. Again, like I said, I'm not an expert. Worked on a few cases, and this is kind of what you would expect, especially a year later or many months into. This is October, when this phone call happened last year, 2024. So 6 months, so half year mark. And this is his theory about what possibly happened to Sebastian. Very 180 from everything else we've heard.
Literally, I'm only down to 2 scenarios here.
Okay.
And they, what I feel probably the most reasonable in my head that makes sense. So
notice how he's talking like this is like when I listened to Justin Rounds and Candace Cooley, for those who are familiar with the Dylan Rounds case, which I was not only covered but was involved in, and went out and searched with Texas EquiSearch, who was actually the same team that actually went out and searched for Sebastian. Literally, like the same people that I worked with worked on this case as well. And anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. But yeah, when I would speak to Candace and or Justin, this is how they kind of sounded like, and used the same kind of words.
First one is very simple.
Okay.
Sebastian got up, walked out of the house, walked out in the woods. He's out there somewhere, and we can't find him.
Okay.
That's the simple one.
That's
right.
Sometimes simple is the way it is, but go ahead.
Now the second one Sebastian walked out of the house. Either it was planned or he was lured out of the house, or something triggered him to leave out of the house.
Mm-hmm.
And walked out of the house. I personally feel he got to Long Hole Pike, and he got picked up in a car, and they headed westbound.
And then, like I said, I played this many times because it just absolutely shocks me because, again, we've never heard him talk like this before or after with such detail, especially the fact that he, got in a car. It's always, he wandered off somewhere, and, we'll kind of talk about what's making the rounds right now, which is a bunch of nonsense. One of them is absolutely just ridiculous the way they combined it. And I even have people that were kind of involved in part of this. If I would have had the time, maybe I could get like a spreadsheet or maybe an email. I don't know. I'd have to look and see what they sent me. But anyway, when we get to that, the canine and /cat cadaver dog search that they went south, absolute nonsense. It's a combination of two different things that happened, and they're trying to combine them, just like everything else that we talked about in our last show. It's just it's a pattern.
On Long Hall Pike.
Wow.
And westbound goes to I-65. Now, there's a license plate reader on Long Hall Pike that goes, if you're traveling eastward, so if you're coming from Goodlettsville going toward Gallatin down Long Hall Pike, there's a license plate reader right there.
So again, I like to play that because, especially the fact that he mentions him getting in a car on Long Hollow Pike, which literally is just down the street from, if we look on, so we can actually control it here, he's saying somewhere he got picked up here, but literally he won't entertain the idea that he got picked up off Stafford and Killen, but he has no problem with Long Hollow and Killen, which is just, a block down the road. It doesn't add up. Again, I don't know if they told him that they were recording this audio or not. I'm so glad that they did, because it's certainly something that he never talks about ever again that we know of. But anyway, moving on. Quickly, just want to mention Jazz gifting 2 Mob Crew memberships. Thank you so much for your support and the $10 euro. God bless you for the amazing support. You are awesome. Let me just get caught back up here. So yeah, if you're coming in, we will talk a little bit about PigFest. I do have some info, especially if you know anybody, if you or somebody that's going out there, maybe don't know all the rules and details. I'm going to go over them, because yes, you can go out there and hand out flyers, but you have to be 100 feet away. And there's more that I can give you guys, but I want to kind of let more people come in. I've got updates, with some new clues, and I promise you this is going to be very, very interesting.
Right.
All right, so again, like I said a little bit earlier, we're getting this group together of people that some I know personally, kind of, and more I've just heard of, but I know that they're have been doing a lot of work behind the scenes. And yeah, this is a group coming from a lot of different, I don't know, I don't want to get too specific, but I'm really excited because we've already got a date that we're getting together, and we are just going to basically, my goal at least is to get everything together, and one of these people I know will know exactly how to send documents to FBI and TBI in a proper form that hopefully they take it seriously enough. And so anyway, that is the goal. And then maybe in a week or two, obviously I'll never be able to get, reveal who they are, but maybe I can reveal a little bit more. And especially when I do send that stuff, we'll, maybe I could do it live or something. Send that stuff over to FBI and TBI. I don't know. I don't want to get too ahead, but yeah. So anyway, also, one other thing I just want to let you guys know is, again, along with the nonsense that's going on, a bunch of misinformation that's just being spread like wildfire, I've seen YouTube videos that are being posted that are fake. They're taking that one where it's actually coming from this camera here at midnight, where the guy's walking his dog and, Mr. Fishsticks tries to tell reporters and the media that there's somebody else hiding behind the car, and that could be Sebastian. Yeah, it's just a guy walking his dog. Anyway, they took that video and they basically made it, if you ever seen like fake ghost videos where you could tell that they overlaid a ghost into it really fast, well, they did that. So be on the lookout for that. If I have time, I'll show that video. But, it's just disturbing because, I don't know if that uploader is the one that made it or they shared it. But, it's just disturbing because it's just all it is distraction. And, yeah. And people will nibble on it because they, some people don't know any better. It's just nonsense. All right, guys. Okay, so as people come in, like I said, we're going to get to the 3 a.m. video. This is what I'm working on first. I just wish I had a little bit more time to polish it. But let's just go over a possible scenario of the abduction and or scenario B. Either one, they still, line up with the car coming and somebody coming from the house and how long it would take. And it's something that I've worked on before. And I'm working on again for this upcoming meeting. But the timing is very interesting. So we know at 2:58 we have this unknown vehicle the night that Sebastian disappeared. It's going up Killen Ave, and all it does is do a U-turn up at the cul-de-sac up here. Very strange, they try to claim that it's some kind of, if you go off Fishsticks, he mentions about 6 different entities between DoorDash to a construction worker showing up, 7, I don't know. Let's see if it's 3 a.m., 5 hours early before work. A possible, somebody that lives in the neighborhood or a girl dropping off a girlfriend or something like that. Teens. Anyway. So here's that car, which we're still working on. Oh, actually, that is the wrong car. That is the other car. You know what? I took the wrong car. That's not a big deal. It does the same exact thing. Here is the real one. Well, yeah, I did. I did take the wrong car. This is the car here. I just took the wrong video. Not a big deal. But you guys know. It's the same thing. This car comes back. Coincidentally, it's going to be coming back right at 3 a.m. by the time it reaches... Killen and Stafford. So obviously as it's turning back, it's 2:59 and 30 seconds. And then you see it drive back and you would think, especially starts to slow down, it would be arriving at this intersection at approximately 3 a.m. on the dot, which is interesting. Yeah, the date is 2:28. I took the Secret Service one. I do apologize. I was focused on that huge discovery more. And this was kind of like a backup. But keep in mind that 3 a.m. car does the same exact thing. And I think that's why the Secret Service or whoever that agency was on the 28th, 2 days later, drove that route. I don't think that's no coincidence that you had an undercover vehicle repeating that same thing. Almost like they were timing the drive, which I think was them collecting data. Yeah. Okay. So real quick, sidestep. Again, I spent hours because most of this you guys will see the work that I put in here in a bit about the 3 a.m. video. But this is one of the things I'm talking about. So Nerdy Addict posted, this was yesterday. According to CP, canine set dogs initially crossed the street diagonally to the neighbor's property, showing strong interest in the neighbor's playscape. From there, the dogs picked up a scent and moved towards the creek, which runs behind the fire station that served as a search command center. Okay, before I read any more, if you have no idea what he's talking about, he's claiming that the dog, remember, that went diagonally through, coincidentally, if you guys remember when he was talking about the dogs and how it cut diagonally through here, just coincidentally where the 3 a.m. lights went. He is now saying, because you remember he said 2 or 3 dogs, remember, to narc divers, that they went down killing, and then once they got the Long Hollow, lost whatever scent. Remember, that's in Narc Divers. Correct me if I'm wrong. I know I have that video, and but I just didn't have a chance to upload it. But then what he does is he now combines a different search. I mean, it's still a search for Sebastian, but now he's taking another search with cadaver dogs and or scent dogs. Not the scent from Sebastian, right? He's trying to make it claim that these scent dogs are coming from Sebastian's scent, which is not right. He says a combination of scent and cadaver dogs followed the trail all the way to Old Hickory Dam, where the scent ultimately stopped. One of the dogs was reported so determined to continue tracking past the dam that it attempted or may have jumped into the raw water. You trying to tell me he tried to jump in the dam? And it sounds ridiculous. If you don't know which dam he's talking about, he's literally saying that somehow he went south and made it to this dam. I'm assuming over here, or let's see, this one here, Old Hickory Dam. So those are Old Hickory Lake. So all the way from here, keep in mind, barefoot, this is like 15, 20 plus miles. I guess I could punch it in real quick. You really think he made that barefoot? Yeah, 15 miles barefoot, my ass. Anyway, yeah, exactly. See, there you go. This is exactly where he's taken a bunch of different stories and he's combining them. And again, it may just be Crispy. And I wouldn't be surprised if it is Crispy. But, you know, is Nerdy involved as well, and he kind of knows that this is garbage? I don't know. So people are nibbling on that, making videos, freaking out. And then on top of that, at the same time, they're trying to feed into this narrative that the dogs went east, you know, into the retention, and then, you know, from there, wherever. So it's like, well, did he go south or did he go east? And anyway, it's just nonsense. I cannot believe it. Yeah, I heard that too, right, Cutie Pie? I heard that too. I'm like, wait a minute, 7 miles away. That's like, what other dam? Am I missing a different dam? I mean, correct me if I'm missing a dam, but I mean, I don't know. I know they did searches in a lot of those waters. Because remember, Cajun Navy came out. There was others, but again, I don't know. The other thing is I saw this and then I'm just like, nah. So MBM, which I know it can stand for multiple things. Anybody knows what he directly means by MBM? I know one of them's not by me. God, there's several of them. If you notice any YouTube creators using my content or drone footage, please send me a DM so we can submit the URLs to YouTube for copyright takedowns. Thank you. Again, you lost my respect when the second you put something like that out. Again, I understand if somebody just uploads your content and doesn't do anything to transform it. But again, you going out there, you're kind of building like a video about Sebastian, and then, you have other people, trying to take bits from it and talk about it. And now you're threatening to do copyright takedowns. Again, that to me, that just speaks like, just like Fish Sticks did, where he did that to me, and likely Crispy. So again, I lost complete respect for that. And even Trish says here, if the goal is helping fight Sebastian, you should be glad people use your footage. And he responded, nah. I'm sorry, I'm out. I'm sorry, it's messed up. Anyway, again, I really don't want to go after Nerdy because I feel like it's just a distraction. And again, I don't know if he's in on it or if he was just fed a bunch of BS by Crispy and now spitting it out, and then Crispy can just sit there and, it's just plausible deniability. Either one would surprise me. Yeah, is that what the creek they're talking about? Yeah, I was wondering which creek they were talking about. But again, I have people that were part of that search. And there's a rumor. I'm just going to say rumor, and then we're going to move on. Rumor has it that one of the cadaver dogs, the reason why they kind of were allegedly brought in or may have had a hit is because there's a rumor that they found a homeless person's body. Now, I can't find confirmed reports of it, but I have multiple sources saying that is the story, and that's why the cadaver dog was hitting on something. But again, this is where Crispy's taking advantage of that and just putting out nonsense. But anyway, we got almost 700 people in here. Thank you guys so much. I promise we're going to get to some, we'll do some updates with the Pig Fest because I want to make sure, anybody that's going out there, know somebody going out there, what the rules are. Because I am personally, but I have somebody that went out and spoke to the actual director. I believe Andy Gilly is his name. And I've got some very good tips that you guys can do, things that you can and can't do as far as those that are going to Pigfest. RF says this is a completely different situation. Yeah, that's what I've heard. It's he's taken that. I think he's taken that part where, remember, when he talked to Narc Divers, he said, there was 5 dogs. Either 2 went up, Kellen, or 2 went down, and then vice versa. 3 went up or 3 went down. I just can't remember which one's which. But I want to say like 3 went up and 2 went down, but I could be wrong. But either way, and then he said, when they got to Long Hollow, they lost the scent. But you can see that then there was a secondary search that was beyond that they were kind of focused on bodies of water, creeks, whatever. Completely different search, just like RLF's saying. And he's just taking that. Yeah. Zach, we'll talk about PigFest, like what it's about and everything. If you missed Monday's live show, we will definitely go over that for sure. All right, just before we get up to the clues, something I'm working on. You may have seen this before, but I'm trying to perfect it a little bit. But I think there's proof, and this is something that I will send to FBI once I get it narrowed down here, with combining footage from Silver's on the scene right here and the 3 a.m. video. Yeah, I think BHP will be there. But, we want to make sure everybody takes the high road and has the right info to do. Because there are things that they can do, and then there's things that they can't do. And it has nothing to do with the Bower socks or the stink feet. It's just rules of the event. But there are things that they can, when it comes to flyers. But we'll go over that in a bit. All right, as you guys know, oh my God, I can't mention how many times I've stared at this and studied this 3 a.m. footage. And let me just remind some of those people, because I know there's people on the other side watching. When it comes to footage, it's unbiased. It's not Team Seth. It's not Team Proudfeet. The only thing it is Team Sebastian, and that's it. It has no goals. It is, again, unbiased info that I've been studying my ass off in regards to helping find answers for Sebastian. I got to take note. Yeah, I did see that. Interesting. That may be it. But again, no, Rachel, it'll be FBI and TBI. I mean, we may send a copy over just to them, but I guarantee FBI and TBI are going to be the top of the list. So anyway, let's see, where does it start here? Okay. And then we're going to get to the evidence, the new stuff. But this is something I've worked on before, and I'm working on again. I just didn't have a chance to really perfect it for you guys. But when you combine that the car probably arrived at 3 a.m., and then we have a screenshot from the backyard at 3:06 and 57 seconds, something like that, somewhere around there. That something went down within 6 minutes. And it's just so interesting when you start to break down all the details that we have, such as this. We have the Nick Barris video. The combined time of it is just a little over 1 minute and 35 seconds. I put 1 minute 40 because obviously I'm sure, we see subject 2 already up ahead. So clearly it would have took her a little more time to move, so I added a few more seconds. So we have subject, and we're just focusing on one, which is subject 2, and they take approximately 1 minute 40 seconds to get from basically the home to close to the road, right? Maybe towards the home there. So we have that. And I promise you there's some other things that we'll be able to do to actually get even better info off of this. But this is real time footage. Oh, gosh, I got it full screen. I'm sorry, guys. Hold on 1 second. Okay, here we go. Yeah, that's amazing, Julie. Yeah. Yes, T-shirts, trinkets, whatever. And there are ways you can hand out flyers, not at the actual event, but I will go over that as well. Oh, thank you. Yeah, smoking has been off and on. I'm not gonna lie, I've had a few hiccups, but doing better. It's tough. Yeah, well, maybe I'll have to touch on that a little bit later. So we have a minute 40 with this subject, right? Then we have, thanks to Silvers, an idea of the vehicle. Because, right, we have the subject moving, and then we have our next event, which is either the vehicle stopped here for a second to let maybe some people out in between here. It's perfectly dark, and it's right next to Chris Carr's house, suspiciously enough. And then we have the car that needs to now pull in, which I don't think now they had their headlights off. Probably thinking this is perfect because it's dark and they have that little ditch that they could probably maneuver in, and probably forgot that, oops, we set off a motion sensor. So with that, we look at video 2, where this is the second video that they uploaded. Notice the motion light sensor is not on right now. It was before when they were moving, right? So the car had been sitting there. Actually, I think I should have put that video before this one, or the other one, but that's okay. So the car is sitting there. This is after the minute 40 seconds of them running across, because we know something set off the motion sensor. So the car is now sitting there with its lights off, which means time has passed because the motion light sensor is not on anymore. Now I looked up motion sensors, the default settings. They can be anywhere from 30 seconds to, I think, 2 minutes is like the default. And then, of course, you could crank it up to 10 minutes if you wanted. I put it at a minute 30, I believe, in this one, just to kind of be fair. So again, time has passed. We already have subject 2 already ran across. Vehicle now turns on its lights because the motion sensor has now turned off, which means that vehicle had to have been sitting there for at least anywhere from 30 to 2 minutes if it's a default motion sensor. I went with 1 minute, I believe. You could even maybe kick that up to a minute 30 if you wanted. So now we have nearly 3 minutes of time that has passed. Now we know that clearly that car would now back up. And the whole reason it turns on its lights is to now back up, because we made it oopsie because we set off the motion sensor light. And now those people are probably sitting over between those homes, or at least we have the scout sitting there watching things. So maybe 30 seconds for that car to back up, back onto Kellen Ave, right? Get out of the camera's view and out of the view of the sensor and light. Which was also told to us by the people that watched this video. And then our last video we have is the person running back. Our very last thing. And if we go off of it, took approximately a minute 40 seconds to go from the home to maybe the side of the house. And if they're running, maybe you cut 10 seconds off, so you say a minute 30 to come back. And again, it's hard because, it's terrible footage, but we have somebody running back. So we add up all those times. And there's that person running back. Sorry, let me get that. And I promise you, I've got the new stuff here in just a minute. But again, this is something I'm working on to get better times of. So we add those up, right? We had the subject, right, which would have had to come back approximately take about the same time, even if it was kind of running. So we shaved 10 seconds off. We add those up together. That's over 5 minutes, right? 5 minutes of movement that we know of, more or less. There's still, probably plenty of seconds up to a minute that we may not be privy of, because obviously some of this stuff could have happened off camera. And again, we don't have all the footage. But the footage that we do have, again, a little bit, with the car backing up, got to speculate a little bit. And with the motion light sensor, I have to speculate a little bit on that time. But again, I try to be fair. But with all that combined, that would be over... Let's see, do I put this back? So with all that added up, that would be over 5 minutes of movement that we know of. And remember, we got this screenshot thanks to Fish Sticks, and then we had the unredacted version. But we know that's at 3:06 and 51 seconds. And if you've seen my videos, I have shown, and in my opinion, proven that the 3 leaked screenshots from this backyard are all what we call motion activated clips. This isn't just something where he took a 24-hour recording, and I'm referring to Fish Sticks, and then decided, I'm going to show that there was nothing going on at 3:07 or 3:10. Again, why would you show something at 3:06 and 51 seconds? Why not 3 a.m.? Why not 3:05? Why not 3:10, right? You could easily go to those marks and make your point or whatever. But yet he shows us 3:06, 51 seconds, which tells me this is definitely confirmation that this came from some kind of motion event. Something happened that was pointed towards their backyard that activated this clip. You have over 5 minutes of movement, and it took 6 minutes from 3 a.m. to 3:06 to the backyard. You do the math. What do you guys think? I think he was taken or something, or dropped off. What are the two? Scenario A or B. Either one, still works. And I think whatever happened within 6 minutes. I'm sure there's stuff that happened way before. But yeah. So there's that. I'm trying to get the times a little bit better and do a little bit more research. But yeah. I mean, I don't think that's no coincidence that that 3 a.m. vehicle would be there right at 3 a.m. And then we have a 3:06, 51 second timestamp that likely came from something that was motion activated pointing towards the backyard, which obviously when they were ending, they would be going back, or it would be Katie going back to her home, and her light is on. So anyway, there's that. I'm working on that. All right, now we're going to get to the good stuff. I mean, that is good stuff. I mean, to me, I think that is big. Oh, thank you so much, Girl Mom. Sorry, I know that's a mouthful, guys. But now we're going to get to some interesting stuff that I found. I can't wait to share with you guys. Just make sure. Okay. All right, guys. Thanks, Jack. Thank you, Zach. I appreciate that. Like I said, that we'll be cleaning that up, getting it better. All right. So now let's get to this, because remember, Crispy has said multiple times, and we'll play his quote as well. This is not a vehicle, and hopefully, if there's some car people in here, because we're trying to work on, this is also something we're working on, like, as we speak, behind the scenes as well. Again, I have no idea how you're not concerned, especially if one of your scenarios is you're claiming that Sebastian went this way, more or less. Well, he says he went diagonal, but again, you claim in one of your scenarios that he was tracked diagonally into killing, which means he would have crossed in front of this camera. Here we go. We got this huge giant anomaly. Forget the flashlights, right? Forget those. What the hell is this, right? I don't know how many times I've got to say this. But we found some interesting info on this. I say we and I because, oh my God. This is going to be so fascinating what I'm going to show you guys. I'm super stoked. Oh, I appreciate that, Sam. Me too. Oh, thank you so much. I hope it's pronounced Amy Lou. Let me know if I'm wrong, but I like that. Okay. So, what the hell is this that we're looking at? I know we've kind of broken this down, but I promise you, I know, Kathy. How is that not a vehicle, right? I'm going to show you some other new stuff that I discovered. And I was, like I said, my mouth was just dropped. All right, guys. Yeah, we got 800 people in here. Hit the like button because here we go. I love finding new ways to debunk these people because it's just such nonsense. And again, let me just repeat. For those that have seen me cover Sebastian, what do you guys see the most of? Or a good portion of my channel. I am looking at surveillance footage. Once again, surveillance footage has no ties to the Stink Feet, the Bowersocks, Rogers. It is unbiased, right? It has no team. It is just fact, right? We just got to deduce what is in there. But again, I am just studying footage that has no allegiances to anybody. All right. Exactly, girl mom. And I do it in the name of Sebastian. I've stared at this. I can guarantee you, I don't think there's anybody, as far as this particular footage, not the extended footage, but this particular footage, I can guarantee there's nobody else has studied this footage more than I have. So we have this, and it'd be nice to have anybody that's in the chat that knows about vehicles or light bulbs in particular for headlights, because we're trying to look at one specific angle about possible bulbs that were used in the vehicle. And we'll show kind of what we're talking about. So here's an overlay. Oh gosh, man, I made these kind of quick. And I promise you, there's more. Because I know I played a little bit of this yesterday. There's a lot more. Okay. So we kind of showed this yesterday. This is, man, I know I slowed this down. So this is an example of a vehicle below. Now they're in a truck and they're kicking on their headlights, kind of repeating the same thing, showing how the tail light, the headlight. Now, of course, you can't see the headlight, and I've explained why that is. The car is not side-faced. It is, yeah, we'll mention that. But just keep in mind, this angle is not side-faced. Anyway. But there's something that it does that is so fascinating. Notice when it turns on, there's a slow brightness, but then it illuminates more. And I think I need to, yeah, right here. Notice how it starts to illuminate more. There's an overlay. You can see how the C, the V, looks just like the C with the vehicle. Okay, this is where I slow it down. So anybody that's car people, and I'll show you guys where we're going with this. And then there's more. I promise you, there's, if you saw the thumbnail, then you know. But notice, and again, I think I slow it down even more after this one. But you have this initial light. Yes. Thank you, Amy Lou. Or Emily Lou. Oh, gosh. Oh. If you can help me pronounce that properly, because I want to butcher your name, because I think that's a sweet name. Yes. We looked into the fog. No, I'll show you what it is, Girl Mom. I promise you guys. Oh, I cannot wait to show you the big reveal. But this is also huge. There's another overlay. But yeah, look how it brights up. So one of the questions is because there is a bulb, which is, where'd it go? I'm not going to lie, Brenda. I'm leaning, I'd be about 80% myself. Amy Lou. Okay, so Amy Lou, right? Yeah. Okay, like I had it right. Okay. Yeah. But yeah, there's a particular bulb that may do this. And again, I think I slowed it down one more time. Yeah, I think this is where it really slows down. So notice right here. Kind of forget about this one, even though this one does the same thing. Just watch how, okay, so the light is kicked on. But notice when we have slowed it down, notice there's like a second kind of wave of light. And so I did AI with this, and actually I had other people look this up. And there is what they call high intensity discharge, also known as xenon headlights. Our primary type of automotive bulbs that exhibit noticeable warm-up delay before reaching full brightness. This occurs because they generate light via electric arc and gas-filled capsule, which requires time for the gas to ionize and stabilize in a high-velocity spark for the ballast. Typically lasts 2 to 5 seconds. And it depends. And then, of course, in colder conditions, is where we're really trying to get to, is that those light bulbs take a little bit more to warm up. Keep in mind that car just sat there for at least 2 minutes, anywhere from 1 to 2 minutes. Because remember, the motion sensor got set off, and so they freaked out. So they just sat there. Now, I think it's still like in the, mid 30s, low 40s. Not warm, not not freezing, but it's still cold, right? So then you kind of read a little bit more. Sorry, got an itch. And you find out that these headlights are common in these types of vehicles. Gives the sedans, premium sedans, some trucks, SUVs. As a matter of fact, that F-150, that might have even been the one that we were looking at with the truck on the bottom. Just kind of funny. Then And we have our sports performance, our Volkswagen Jetta. It's kind of funny. And then, Toyota Camry, Honda Accord. Kind of interesting as we, interesting. I 100% agree, Detective. Exactly. A mother, father, whatever, you would be out there screaming from the rooftops. And, of course, where's Katie? She's hiding behind Stinkfeet's coattail. We are all here for Sebastian. Hey, man, in my opinion, I don't want any Charger car and backyard bingo using cryptic. Curious Webs the visitors did as well as working, just saying. Oh, okay. I think I get what you're kind of saying. I appreciate that, Rachel. And I agree. And thank you so much for the $10. So anyway, hey Heather, good to see you. But yeah, interesting, potential lead. Because we got to look at it, all angles, right? And again, if anybody comes in that's maybe a car person and wants me to go back to that, and maybe they could, a little bit more knowledgeable about headlamps, I'll play this one more time, and then I'm going to get to the new big clue that I discovered. And I promise you, it's going to be very fascinating. Again, I've spent way too much time on this 3 a.m. video. Way too much time. But, yeah, it certainly does that same thing where, God, I wish I would have slowed it down just a little bit more. But you see it where it's kind of got that initial light, and then it kind of warms up, brightens up, and both of those vehicles do that. Be nice to maybe even get more examples. But, it's a possible lead in to look in. If we could find the bulbs, figure out those, could that lead us to certain vehicle types like this? If that's right? And then... Oh, do you think they, practiced it? Did a trial? If that's what you're saying, I 100%. I think they did something like that. They're both in the Navy. They're smart. Their routines, I'd have no doubt they studied the shit out of this if they were allegedly involved. Okay, here's for the new reveal. And I'm really excited to show you guys. Sorry. Okay. So, thank God for some of this drone footage that I got. And, boy howdy, has there been something that's bugged the hell out of me? And it's in this lighting. And, oh my God, wait till you guys see this. All right, here we go. You guys ready? For this to be explained? Because, I know we thought maybe it was exhaust or maybe even fog. We did a bunch of different tests and nothing quite. The fog kind of looked fairly good. I'm not going to lie. The fog looked, it did kind of do something like this, but it just still didn't quite fit. I would say 100%. But I promise you guys, wait till you see this. This is great. And I found this today. So, do you guys notice there's this just kind of void right here at a kind of certain angle? Not to mention how this is almost a just perfect straight line, right? Which is kind of odd. Coming from headlights, you would think you would get that, that cone, right? But you don't get that. There's reasons why. So, but what is this void here, right? If this is part of the pavement, why what's missing right here, right? Shouldn't we, if it can light this part up, why isn't it lighting this part up, right? We thought it was exhaust, and I promise you, it did, but I promise you, wait till you see this, and I promise you this. But again, you have this angled thing here, and keep in mind, this is also why I don't think it's exhaust, is because the straight line, which will be explained here. Again, it's not a bad theory, because it does look like that, but I promise you guys, wait till you see the reveal, and it's like, oh my God, it was right there the whole time. All right. So, do you guys notice this neighbor here? Do you guys notice that there are some scuffs in the road? It almost looks like dirt, right? But it's actually scuffs where, again, where he's probably, I don't know if high center it would be the proper word. Remember, this guy's got a boat, right? He's done a little bit of damage to this street in this particular area. Do you guys see all this? And it looks like dirt, but I promise you that's not just dirt that's just sitting there from when it's filmed. No, that is scuffed up road. And I'll prove it in another way. That is scuffed up road, right? And there just happens to be a scuff, which would not surprise me if you're going to have a scuff anywhere, because this road is concave, right? It's concave, and then it has this flat top. Again, you can see where the shadow from the telephone lines are, where they actually kind of go right where there's just a little bit of flat top at the middle, right? Right in the medium, I guess you want to call it. But there's a scuff. And it's in a particular angle. And look, so here's Google Earth. And this was taken in February, I got to look at it, before he went missing. Do you guys see a pattern? That drone footage was taken shortly after he went missing. This is taken before he went missing. Do you guys see a pattern? This is scuffed up road. There we go. Because I'm not a boat guy, so I'm sure there's probably people here who could explain this a lot better and probably have experienced this. So I'm assuming something's high centering, and especially if it's going to high center anywhere, it's going to high center at the medium, right? I don't know if medium's the proper word. At the center where it's, the concave comes up. There's a big scuff. I mean, there's multiple scuffs. But right in the medium, I'm just going to call it the medium for right now. But here's his boat, right? And he's had two different boats that we know of. He may have had, this is a big boat guy. You can clearly see where he's tried to he's backed up the boat or took in the boat. I don't know, maybe somebody in chat probably knows a little bit better. He has scuffed up that road quite a bit, but he has scuffed it up in this particular area, and he has scuffed it up right in the crown. Oh, there you go, crown. That's a good word. I like that, crown. Yeah. We can work with crown. All right, so anybody see where I'm going with this? Because it's almost, to me, it's almost obvious what it is. So look at the direction. That's from the drone footage. Look at the direction. It's not quite like, center, like left to right, It's kind of pointing at an angle where this got scuffed up at. This is the medium. You can see the crown right here where it rolls along, and it's cut right into the crown at an angle. Notice how it's pointing towards a particular two trees that I told you guys. Oh, look at that tree. Remember when I had a contact that was literally spoke to that guy, the neighbor, this guy here, the boat guy, and said, yeah, the car was like right across from those two trees. Yeah. So check this out. Notice and look where notice this is where the boat. So this truck here. So keep in mind where this truck is at. The boat is already kind of halfway on that extended cement and grass, but we know that they park a truck in the grass. This truck here is pretty much mostly in the grass. We know, which I'll show you here, where those scuff marks, if we were to go across from the grass, right there. So remember, that truck is sitting. You can see the dead grass where he clearly is probably this truck right here. But it looks like he moved it forward. Maybe he's getting ready. When this was taken, maybe he's just got done parking the boat, or he's getting ready to pull the boat out. That truck is sitting right there. And those scuff marks, that lit up road is right here. You guys see where I'm seeing with this? Yes, dragging the ball hitch. Yep. And he's scraping up the crown. I like that word, the crown. And notice, it's at an angle, right? And we know when we look at the drone footage, it's much better. We can see the angle. I think because of the quality, you can't really tell that it's diagonal. Obviously, in the drone footage, which is better clarity, and above, we can definitely tell it's at an angle. Obviously, think about this. This is the crown of the road. That little divot is from, this is just me. Let me know what you guys think in chat. And again, this has bothered the shit out of me. That is where the crown got divvied up by the ball or whatever from the boat. And obviously, if it's got a dip and it's not as flat, that light coming from the vehicle is going to go over that and extend past. And notice how smooth it is right here. Right? Really smooth right here. Imagine, because that is the crown, right? This is the crown. We are looking at the crown. If we just look back and we didn't look at the extended part here, but we just looked at the crown, say if this car was backed up more, we would probably see more of this smoothness if this car had backed up. But because it is now in the area of where this guy has taken his boat and dug into the crown and into the road, it has cut it up and it's not as smooth. That is it. Again, I have spent way too much time on this. I appreciate that, guys. I cannot tell you. I am here to serve Sebastian. I'm not here for the drama. I am here to provide facts. And I'm here to provide science. And if you want to peer review science and peer review what I've done, go ahead. Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. Crispy, you say it's not a car. Prove it. Convince me. As the famous Jim Hopper says in my favorite show, Stranger Things in season 2, convince me. Convince me, right? You say it's not a car, but yet you say your stepson traveled south diagonally through this neighborhood, but there's no vehicle. Flashlights are going somewhere else. Convince me. You have the team. You got a shit ton of people, peddling your nonsense. Prove me wrong. I dare you. That's what scientists do, right? They put out a theory, they put out a paper, and they have it peer reviewed, right? Prove me wrong. But yeah, one last time if you missed it. But yeah, look at the angle. And right. Sorry. the drone footage as that best. I mean, just look right at the crown. And again, look at, this is where that truck would be, right? Sitting right here, and that thing is cutting right through there. But yeah, that is why it is not as smooth as it goes on. And yeah, bring the proof, right? I try to do what I can for Sebastian and the nonsense that they try to peddle. But yeah, it always bothered me the way it was angled like that, and then how it's just such a perfect straight line. And that's really just because it's the crown. This is the crown being lit up. And the reason why there's nothing else being lit up is the car is more on the right side of the road, right? So the car is sitting, well, unfortunately, he's on the left, but you can see the crown, right? And if the car is sitting about right here, right, well, I'd have to back up one. But we can see the crown right here. Notice, here, notice, it looks like they fixed this too. Notice this is after he went missing, which is funny. So let me go back a date. Watch this. Now look at it. Now look at it. You go to 2025 after he went missing, a year after he went missing. Looks like they kind of went in. So there, to me, I mean, you could tell that is damage to the road from him and his boat. And you can easily see the crown. And if your car was more on this side, and this has got enough of a bit of a crown and lip, and you're a little bit more on the right side, that lighting is not really going to hit that concrete in the same way, if at all, from its position. And that is why you've got that perfect straight line, because it's on that crown. And then you've got, and I guarantee you, notice, I wanted to do a little bit more research, but if you notice, it gets really nasty here as well. Again, if you look at the road, it's tore up. It's tore up here, it's tore up here, it's tore up here. Pretty wild. Tell me that's not a car. My fucking ass. I'm sorry. One snarky F-bomb. God almighty. Ugh. Drives me nuts. Thank you, Heather, so much for the PayPal. I appreciate that. I got more. I mean, that was the big one, and I've got stuff for the Pig Fest as well. But again, that's coming from just studying way too much of this damn video and trying to think outside the box every time, and just trying to think, what other angle can I look at to try to prove these bastards wrong?
Why would Chris Proudfoot say?
Because all they do is just put out nonsense, and I want to get to the truth. I'm so sick of putting out false information. And it's so obvious, it's so clear, and it's coming from Chris Proudfoot, and how, from Crispy. How does this help find your stepson in any way, shape, or form? How?
That was something they did. So I asked about the lights. Chris Proudfoot said 300% the lights. I don't care what others say. Chris said that the lights were, the first pair of lights were from a neighbor that were bringing the trash down.
Oh, really?
That light?
We're going to show that here in a minute. I don't think I've shown it on this show, but I'm going to show you guys what they did. And then I'm just going to show one way I can debunk it. I could debunk it in like 100 different ways, but obviously it would just take a lot of time. And again, that's probably what they want, is me to waste time on stupid shit. But I will debunk it in one way. And I'll show you guys what they did. I don't think I've ever shown this before.
Supposedly on the night that Sebastian disappeared, that like stops, pulls in, there is a newspaper vehicle that comes in the neighborhood. Every other vehicle in the neighborhood has or is accounted for. Law enforcement had put that out there. And to come back and dispute that, I think you're a bit of a fool. Yes, I'm going to say this out loud, Bob Crew. I think you're a fool. If you
convince me, Crispy, you got a bunch of followers that could easily, again, go ahead, prove me wrong. I dare anyone on that side. Go ahead. I'll look at it. If you take it seriously, you want to prove me wrong, go ahead. Prove me wrong with the 3 a.m. lights. The car. Explain to me how the car is setting off a reflection on one of the tail lights, which means that whatever that object is cannot be any further beyond that truck. So this whole garbage thing is nonsense. Prove me wrong. Anybody. They tried once, and I embarrassed them, and I'm going to do it one more time. And then we'll get to the Pig Fest. But this is something I haven't shown before. I may need to use the restroom real quick. I'm sorry, guys. So, 103. Okay. I'm going to show this full screen real quick. Actually, let me shout out. I promise you, this is something I've never shown before. Bliss Blessings, thank you so much for the 8-month support. Amazing work, Chris. I appreciate that. I really do. I mean, I spend hours and hours and hours before I go live every time to try to provide something new, something, try to outside the box, But I told you guys, we're going to have a team. We're going to be sending stuff. I know I am going to be sending stuff to TBI and FBI. And yeah, well, I'll speak on it a little bit more in the upcoming live shows. Cajun, thank you so much for $4.99. I really appreciate the support. Helps me more than ever because I'm trying to get back on my feet. Okay, I'm going to use the restroom real quick. I'm going to play my favorite character, and then I'm going to debunk the garbage can, and I'm going to show you guys what they were referring to.
I'm taking this as in reference to the Mob Cruise video. To go ahead and tell you that, the one lights and the time on the videos are actually wrong. Law enforcement has confirmed that. The one looks like it's running down or something. That was actually the gentleman taking his trash can to the street. He has already admitted to that. Down or something. That was actually the gentleman taking his trash can to the street. He has already admitted to that. When you look at the screen, there was no vehicle. There was no vehicle.
No vehicle, but yet we see.
There was no vehicle. There was no vehicle.
Why are you the way that you are? Honestly, every time I try to do something fun or exciting, you make it not that way. I hate so much about the things that you choose to be.
Well said, my good man. Well said. Well said. Okay. What's going on here? Oh, yeah. Man. Couldn't say it any better myself. My goodness. Oh, I don't know if that'd be much. I mean, I'm sure I'm probably going to get pretty one-sided. I appreciate that, Crime Time, but yeah. So anyway, so yeah, let me show you this. If you didn't guys understand what was going on here, let me show you guys what they tried to do here, and then we'll get to the Pig Fest.
So I asked about the lights. Chris Proudfoot said 300% the lights. I don't care what others say. Chris said that the lights were, the first pair of lights were from a neighbor that were bringing the trash down.
Neighbor bringing the trash down. All right, well, we're going to shut that down real quick.
That night? He's saying supposedly on the night that Sebastian disappeared.
That like stops, pulls in. There is a newspaper vehicle that comes in the neighborhood. Every other vehicle in the neighborhood has or is accounted for. Law enforcement had put that out there. And to come back and dispute that, I think you're a bit of a fool. Yes, I'm going to say this out loud, Bob Crew. I think you're a fool. If you.
Oh, the words I have for you, Crispy, are much worse than a fool. All right. So if you guys don't know, they actually went and tried to recreate this. Well, actually, you may know a little bit. This came from, Crewminati. And again, I'm not trying to start anything because, again, I want to find Sebastian. I'm so done with drama and, oh, man, give me footage, give me evidence. I'll be happy to study it in the name of Sebastian Rogers. Again, footage has no allegiance to anybody. But here we go. Because I haven't shown this part. So this is where, does anybody know, I'm not even sure who this was, Cluminati's boyfriend, husband, or if it was somebody else. Somebody's out here with a flashlight, and they actually run up that guy's driveway, which I think is hilarious that they even did this.
Mob Crew.
But they actually proved something that's kind of interesting.
He's a fool because he made.
Oh, and thank you so much, Melissa, for the Venmo. God bless you. And court reporter. Thank you so much for the $10 super chat. I so much appreciate that love and support. God bless, man. Okay.
Makes Mr. Chris look guilty. Neighbors say there was a 3 a.m. vehicle. Number 2, never confirmation on neighbors taking out the trash. 3, newspaper delivery. Why isn't this delivery doing
Wi-Fi's that came in that
lights at 3 a.m. and was.
Okay, now I think I do a zoomed in one, but if you look on the right, you're going to see this little beeping flashlight. Now, of course, this is not in the common area. This is up by this driveway. And I'll show you. Again, I've already debunked this, their nonsense in so many different ways, but I'll just do another one. Actually, let me use this one. This will be a little bit better. So they have the camera pointed this way, obviously. And they're trying to say that it's this guy taking out his trash can, right? So let me go back here, kind of from this angle here. About right here. So driveway again, yeah, right there, right? And they say that the anchor lights, the floodlights are right here, coming from that home here, which is nonsense. But I'll zoom in after. But one thing you'll notice right away is, she's got a side split screen. Do you already see a problem with the vehicles? Do you see how this vehicle is like it's up on a hill, on a lift? Whereas this vehicle, I wouldn't say it's almost flat, but more or less it's flat. Yeah. Anyway.
They're a car.
I'm taking this as in reference to the Mob Crew's video. To go ahead and tell you that, one.
So here's it zoomed in. Now, I apologize but no, this is interesting because I forgot about this, and I may be able to use this in a way, use their work against them, which is great. Do you guys notice all these lights over here? We got lights here. We got a light up here. We got, what looks like a UFO right here, that just landed. And they're claiming this is this is where the camera was pointing in their experiment, right? This looks like the UFO that landed in Close Encounters of the Fourth Kind, or the Gravitron ride at your nearest fair, right? Where the hell were these lights in the 3 a.m. video? I don't know. But anyway, here is them literally going down the driveway.
The one lights and the time on the videos are actually wrong. Law enforcement has confirmed that. The one looks like it's running down or something. That was actually the gentleman taking his trash can to the street. He has already admitted to that. Down or something. That was actually the gentleman taking his trash can to the street. He has already admitted to that. When you look at the screen, there was no vehicle. There was no vehicle.
No vehicle, but yet we see.
No vehicle, but yet something literally, when this turns on, the back of this truck gets lit up. Let me say that again. This anomaly that's allegedly not a vehicle, at the same time lights up the back of this vehicle. You're now peddling that he allegedly went down this route, but yet you won't entertain this at all? You're not curious, right? How would you not be curious? If you think one of the scenarios your son went south, even in the one where we talked about him getting abducted by a car, which I'm sure we'll never hear that come out of his mouth again. I'm sure he regretted that interview. Again, if you were a parent, wouldn't you be on that all day? Like, what in the F is this, right? My son wandered off, and I've got this weird anomaly that, I mean, I can explain it, but, apparently he doesn't want to know the truth, or he already knows the truth and knows it's BS. But anyway, yeah, back to the Gravitron that, again, was not in the original video.
I think you're a bit of a fool.
Someone caught
Yes, I'm going to say this out loud, Bob Crew. I think you're a fool.
Oh, Mob Crew's a fool. Because he makes Mr. Chris look guilty.
Prove me wrong, Chris.
Neighbors say there was a 3 a.m. vehicle. Okay. Number 2, on
and the time on the videos.
But yeah, one more time. Sorry. Look how he goes down. He's actually going down that driveway.
They're actually wrong.
But this is interesting because this actually proves that we can pick up lights and the way they act is good. Yes, I was going to say maybe it's the power of the CP brain lighting up, but it's a dull flicker. But yeah, check this out.
Law enforcement has confirmed that. The one looks like it's running down.
It's running down, and that's them doing it, right? Again, but we have the Gravitron over here, which is not in the original video. And then I'll show you another.
Or something that was.
Then we got this giant light that, again, was. This light isn't there above the 3 a.m.
Actually, the gentleman taking his trash can to the street. He has already admitted to that. Down or something that was actually.
But I love that they did this experiment because it does prove that. Because remember, there are trees. We can't see it, but there are trees. Remember, as we back up here, because back here. Remember, there are these trees that they're kind of cutting through. And I'm assuming that is part of the reason why we're getting that, which would reflect what would be in the actual tree.
The gentleman taking his trash can to the street. He has already admitted to that. The gentleman taking. When you look at the screen, there was no vehicle. There was no vehicle.
No vehicle, but yet we see.
There was no vehicle. There was no vehicle.
Why are you the way that you are? Honestly, every time I try to do something fun or exciting, you make it not that way. I hate so much about the things that you choose to be.
Yeah. Anyway, so here's another just quick little debunk video, and then we'll finish up here with the Pig Fest, because I do got info for the Pig Fest. And thank you to everybody. We almost have 1,000 people in here. Here's just a couple of other ways. So, as you can see already, do you guys notice how the vehicles are like on a ramp? Yet these vehicles are not. I know this is something I think I pointed out before on them, just wanting to 100 different ways I could debunk their video. Just absolutely ridiculous. But let me show you something else that's funny. Besides the Gravitron that they, forgot was in there, that apparently didn't show up. I guess maybe the Gravitron wasn't running the night that Sebastian disappeared. So here's me overlaying literally the lights that they're saying, right? They're trying to say the floodlights are coming from this home right here, right? Trying to say it's coming from some landscape lights that are sitting in this yard, right? And this. So I pretty much lined it up, right? And then you're going to see him. Now remember, it's the overlay. So you can see little Ricardo, whoever the guy is that's associated with Naughty. You got Ricky Ricardo over here, with his flashlight. Walking down. I probably walked down the driveway, and then I think he's kind of probably cutting down Stafford, probably starting to walk towards them. Here's the issue with that. One, do you see the vehicle, the truck, and how it's angled up? As I've mentioned about 1,000 times now, whereas your vehicle here is not. Do you want to know why that is? Is because it is in the driveway angled down. This is the whole reason why this vehicle in R3 and the vehicles are on a ramp type is because it proves that the camera is not stationary on the ground, but is lifted up and it's angled down. And because of the angle of the camera, and you've got a driveway that's going, like this, you are going to get this. But if you're standing on the ground, even though if you're like this and you're pointing your camera, well, it'd be the other way. Sorry. It's hard when you're looking at a camera. It's reversed. Anyway, you guys get the idea. Now, when you're standing on that actual driveway, that even though it's angled, but you are taking a video from that on the ground at the same degree of angle on the driveway, it's going to look flat, you idiot. Sorry. Anyway, the other thing, again, I could do this all day. I'm here all day, folks. Here's the other thing. So I lined up their lovely landscape lights, right? Because these are the lights. Here's our Gravitron. Here's our lovely Ricardo. I forget his name, right? Ricky Ricardo out there with this flashlight. We got, Encounters of the Fourth Kind, Gravitron over here. We got the floodlights, right? These are supposed to be the floodlights, right? But do you guys notice all these lights above it, right? And there's something right next to that. And again, remember, all this, according to their experiment, all this lighting would be in there, but it's not. Here's the other funny thing. So here's me. Remember, here's their original. They're like, yep, hey, check this out. Sorry, and then I'll move on. I'm sorry, guys. I just had to get a little... So, let me pause it right here. Oop. Okay, here's them. Here's that full screen shot. Now, look, notice how the vehicles are... They look flat. Because it don't matter if I'm standing on a hill this much, or this much... A little bit of degree, slightly degree. If I'm standing on it and I'm taking a photo from that same degree, it's going to look pretty much flat. Anyway, I digress. Do you guys see all this huge lighting that's going on over here? Because this is the home right here. That's lit up like a Christmas tree, and there's like 2 landscape lights that they're trying to claim. Anyway, well, let's just look at it from another angle. And again, I could do this like a 100 different ways. So let's do this again. And this is the last one, guys. I'm sorry, and I'll read chat. I can't help myself because I'm so mad because these people are just... these people don't want to find Sebastian, and they just want to put out misinformation. And I'm done with it. Even though here I am debunking their stuff, but I just want to make a fool of them. So anyway, so that's her trying to claim that. Okay, so here's the issue. So here's the footage from down below. This is what I'm trying to get at. Is we know the footage because it's taken from a cell phone. It bobs and weaves a little bit. Well, we should have this, right, as it bobs and weaves up and down. As this bobs and weaves, right, all these lights over here should come into frame. Remember, it's not cut off right here. I think maybe cut off at the top border right here. But where it says home security footage, that's actually cutting into it. So, so anyway, basically, hopefully you guys know what I'm saying. Like, watch as this bobs. If this is bobbing, you should have all these Christmas lights bobbing with it. Watch as it bobs, and it bobs down pretty far. That far. Look at this. We should have lights, right? Huge lights light up. There's nothing. Why? Because that wasn't taken from there. I know. This feels like flat earth stuff. Deborah, thank you. God, that's what I feel like. You know, oh my God. Holy shit. Where's the Tylenol? God help us all.
That night.
Anyway.
He's saying supposedly on the night that Sebastian disappeared.
That like stops, pulls in. There is a newspaper vehicle that comes in the neighborhood.
Mr. Chris looked guilty. Delivery? Why isn't this
confirm that? The one looks like it's running down or something. That was actually the gentleman taking his trash can to the street. He has already admitted to that. Down or something. That was actually the gentleman taking his trash can to the street. He has already admitted to that. When you look at the screen, there was no vehicle. There was no vehicle.
No vehicle, but yet we see.
There was no vehicle. There was no vehicle.
And then let's not forget, before we get into the Pigfest part of it, because I do got updates for that. Let's not forget that apparently Sebastian was wearing Adidas pants, sweatpants, that have the white stripes that go down them. Now, they have different versions. They have ones that are more reflective. They have just the, normal brand. Let's not forget, the home facing the Proudfeet, the home behind the Proudfeet, are both filming 24/7, and both of those are in nighttime mode. So if Sebastian were to walk out in front of his house or wander off, he would, except for some of the cameras, but the first main camera that is facing the home, he would light up like a gosh darn Christmas tree. When it's in nighttime mode, it picks up whites and blacks. If he's wandering around 7 to 15 miles when you got a neighborhood that's got cameras everywhere, and he's not seen on a single one, I wonder why. These people make me so sick. I know, I do miss the Gravitron. And I've been rewatching Sebastian Rush. Stranger Things. And again, anyone on the other side, before we move to the last part, when it comes to this footage, convince me that this is not a car. Give me data. Don't give me a theory. Give me data. Show me actual work that you put in to prove that this is not a car. explain how this lights up simultaneously as 3 other lights, well, 2 other lights light up at the same time as this illuminates. And then you could also say, well, you know that these lights run back and forth, right? Behind this thing, which would also tell you that there's no freaking way that those lights could be moving up here if that white truck was sitting right here, the car, which obviously you have the truck that's sitting, let me take this one, which is better. We have the truck that's sitting right here, which gets illuminated by the back of its tail lights, which means that nothing can be really past this, right? If you know what I mean, right? This is the truck that's in the grass. This is the truck towards the end of the driveway. The lights are moving back this way, right? So if we just use logic and we go, oh, well, that white truck was here. This thing was right here. It illuminated whatever's right here. The camera's pointing at an angle this way. Well, gee golly, there's only one direction. That light is moving back and forth. Anyway, so many other different ways I could debunk them and embarrass them. But again, they won't. But I asked them, please, prove me wrong. And if anyone proves me wrong, I will happily go live and go, you know what? You're right. I made a mistake on that. I have no problem with humility. So, all right, let's get into the final part here. Sorry, guys, going a little bit longer than I planned on. Lori Shortlegs. That's a great, I love that last name. Thank you so much for the $4 super sticker. That's funny. Yeah. Yeah, the whole FBI statement, I don't know. But I do believe in the FBI. Yeah. I use that, Bill. There you go. Okay. So yeah, Pigfest tomorrow.
Here's Hendersonville Pigfest. Welcome back, guys.
So this is what Pigfest is real quick. For anybody that doesn't know, I'm going to go full screen so I can grab a drink. But yes, I've got some interesting info because I know people may be watching that may be participating tomorrow or know somebody. And I promise you, I've got some details straight from the director himself on what you can and can't do. So I want to relay that information so people can pass out flyers in the proper areas and know what they can and can't do, as far as I know. So if you don't know what Pigfest is, I'm just going to play this real quick, and then I will provide information for people for tomorrow.
Match. Oh, yeah. Andy and Billy are back to break down this year's Hendersonville Pigfest. Welcome back, guys.
Thank you for having us.
I'm so glad that you're here. This year is going to be huge. Big names. Give us an overview.
Well, bigger and better than ever. Pigfest presented by Dude Wipes. Thursday this week, we have Jeff Jarrett, our hometown Hall of Fame wrestler, putting on a wrestling match in the park for the first time in his entire career. And then Friday, we have the Oak Ridge Boys, another hometown hero group of ours that's been around for 50 years in Hendersonville. Kickoff concert, and then Saturday, free to the community barbecue competition, live pig races, food vendors, cornhole, pickleball, everything you want.
So many vendors. Now, you said it, 50. Look at those little pigs go. Oh, I just love it so much. 50 people are going to be competing this year, 50 teams for over $10,000 in cash prizes. Who is going to be part of that competition?
We have teams from all over the Southeast that have come in. This has grown from like 7 teams when it first started to now 52 this year. Coming in, they'll load in on Thursday or Friday, cook all day, and it's the best food I've ever eaten, that's for sure.
I mean, it looks delicious. And hey, we've got to talk about, why this all started. This is the 6th annual. And it really started because you saw a need.
We did. During COVID, we were afraid that Christmas for Kids would not be able to do their annual event where they load the kids up on the tour buses, take them to Walmart, let them shop. These are kids that would not otherwise have a Christmas. It's one of the oldest nonprofits in Hendersonville, been around since the 80s, started by country music industry tour bus drivers to loan out their buses. So ourselves and Holiday Fest and Live Love Nashville and some other folks in the community thought we need to make sure this happens. And so we kind of created what is now a 3-day event called Pig Fest and helped them save the year that year. And now it's grown to where we raise money for 4 nonprofits: Mary's Magical Place Playground, Live Love Nashville, Christmas for Kids, and Grace Place Ministries, all to help kids and families.
So wonderful. All helping.
I know. It reminds me of Stranger Things. It's upside down. So yeah, the Pig Fest, it's a festival that goes on for 3 days. It started in 2021. So today, this year's 2025. So this is the 5th annual Pig Fest. Obviously they do barbecue, which makes me really hungry right now. I just want to mention this real quick. For anybody who doesn't know, Dog himself does not put out his own tweets. I'm sure for those that not everybody knows, but a lot of these celebrities, they have, other people that tweet for them. From what I understand, he had no idea about this tweet, and I'll be honest, this is probably not their proudest moment, right? And I know that, behind the scenes, it's going to be addressed. But yeah, it is a little interesting that we have Danny Guy sponsoring, which is a cousin of Crispy. And then we have Cluminati also sponsoring. Now, I don't know all the exact details, but from what I understand, now neither one of these, Second Generation Construction by Danny Guy or Cluminati, have sponsored before. Kind of interesting. Although it's only been active for 5 years, so, take that for what it's worth. Be curious to know, are they going to use that platform to promote Sebastian Rogers? Now, they have rules. They don't, and this just goes for any kind of festival, like where they got something like this. They don't want, like, inside where people are handing out flyers because they don't want trash, litter. Even though I know it's not trash, the flyers, but, people may take them and then dump them. And they just don't want the event being littered, with a bunch of flyers going around. But they did say, because we have spoken with Gilly himself, and they were trying to get Seth a booth or sponsorship. I think they may still be able to get sponsors, but I think, it costs money. I'm not sure on the booths. Again, I know a good portion of details. I don't know them all. Maybe people in the chat could, extend on it if they know. But here are the things. For anybody that's going out there, let me just get this information out there. If you want, yes, you can wear t-shirts and stuff. Unless you have a booth or a sponsorship, because the reason why it's not fair to hand out like trinkets or stuff for people that aren't sponsors of booth is because those people paid to be able to sponsor their stuff, if that makes sense. And I understand that. That makes sense, right? They paid money to be able to, promote whatever their stuff is, right? Now, you would think that Danny Guy and Cluminati would take that opportunity to support Sebastian's disappearance. We'll see. I have no idea. I'm not going to speak for him because we'll see what happens tomorrow. But for those that don't have booths or sponsorships that do want to show up early, you can pass out flyers, not on the grounds. You have to be at least 100 feet away. According to Andy Gilly, you can also pass out flyers to people that are arriving near the parking lot. So that way they can take the flyer and they can put it in their car. They just don't want the flyers of Sebastian being taken into the grounds, right? Because they're, again, they don't want what they call litter. And And that is just, something they've had, long before this, right? That's just part of their thing. So 100 feet, you can pass out flyers. You can pass out flyers to people that are arriving. Oh gosh, it's another big one. Law enforcement. There is going to be law enforcement out there. They are aware of, that people from both sides are going to be out there. And, obviously this is supposed to be for the kids and, event. And so they do not want drama. So I'm just kind of not saying warning, but just, let people know that, law enforcement is going to be there and they are aware of the tension, right? And they are aware of, kind of that tweet from Dog, but keep in mind that did not come straight from Dog, as people will try to blame Dog, but that did come from somebody that he was not aware of that put that out. Because as I would say, my community, we want to take the high road, show up with shirts, bracelets. You want to hand out the flyers 100 feet away, and when people are arriving, do that. But again, don't, when you go in there, there is going to be law enforcement there, and, take the high road and use that opportunity to promote Sebastian under the guidelines of the rules at the park. But I am curious on what, Clue and Danny Guy do with their sponsorships, I would think, you would take that opportunity to, hand out trinkets or whatever is appropriate that they allow for those booths, have a video, whatever, links to Sebastian website, whatever. But yeah. So hopefully, if you guys can pass that information along to anybody that that's going out there. We are going to keep an eye on it tomorrow. I do hope, it's in the best interest for Sebastian and get his name out there. I know people are trying to still get Seth. I don't know. I think all the booths are up. You still might be able to get sponsorship, which may allow you to get around some things. But again, yeah. So that's what I know. But last thing, as I said earlier, working with some people behind the scenes, people I know a little bit of, and we all have different information, come from different groups. I'm not going to get specific, but we're coming together. Again, my goal, as I said earlier, is to put a package together. And one of the people that I know that's going to be coming along would know how to send proper information to the FBI and TBI to where, hopefully it gets their attention. Because I think I do have enough, and then maybe combine with them. And yeah. So that is the goal. But again, I just want to say thank you to everybody being in here and being respectful in the chat. I try to do the best I can. I try not to attack other creators because I feel like I prefer to take the high road, but I do have an issue when people mislead and basically take advantage when you clearly know that it's wrong and it's misinformation. And I'm sorry, this nerdy addict guy, again, I don't know his true motives, but at the very least, he's definitely a mouthpiece for Chris Proudfoot. I don't know if he's doing that on purpose, but everything he's regurgitating is nonsense, and you can see it. I could pull up Twitter right now and find like 20 different tweets of them freaking about the canine and cadaver dogs, and it's just nonsense. How's that going to help find Sebastian, right? And that all goes back to Crispy, right? Or, and then in Crispy's defense, he'll just blame it on Nerdy, right? Say, oh, no, Nerdy, misspoke. It's clear. Been doing this way too long, and it's just, you can see how they work. It's so obvious. Yes, Kathy, that wouldn't be a bad idea as well. Yeah, that's a great idea, Kathy. I like that. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you, Sassy, for coming in and helping. I appreciate that. God bless. And to all my mods, of course. Hopefully, as I feel better, we'll start maybe doing some pet outros and some perks. Again, as you guys, a lot of you guys know, I'm dealing with stomach issues, and it is what it is. I'll have great days or great weeks, and then I'm out for days. I'd apologize at this point, but it's just, I just can't help it, sadly. Yeah. Yeah, and again, I don't want to really go after Nerdy, because I still don't know, like, his true motives or what, But again, this is a guy that was, when he got there, he was intimidating. I can't even say the word. He was posing as At Night, saying, "Hey, I'm for with At Night. Here's a flyer, whatever. What do you know?" And it's just weird, right? And then when I saw the whole, if anybody's using my footage, I'm gonna copyright. And then I'm like, nah. This reminds me exactly what Fish Sticks tried to do, and this just seems like they're trying to silence anybody that questions the stink feet, in my opinion. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Brenda. Thank you guys so much. Thank you, Kiki. I would shout everybody out. Be here all night. Carol, God bless. Kiki. Yeah, thank you guys so much. Heather, good to see you. Bo. All right, guys. Hopefully I'm going to try and do some makeup lives. See what's going on. If somebody's live tomorrow at the place, we may tune in. Be kind of curious. Yeah, Marie. Yeah. Oh, geez. Right. Nonsense. Again, how does that help Sebastian, right? All right, guys. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your Wednesday or Thursday, wherever you're at. And hopefully, mods, I try to post on my Facebook page as soon as I can if I'm going live that day. So we'll try to do another live tomorrow. And I'll let you guys know by noon or 1 my time. So, all right, guys. Much love. Be safe.